biggest problem with black people right now is not white people. The biggest problem with black people right now is black people. And we need to uplift our community and stop thinking so much about the alleged white, what's called the culture, the white supremacist culture. I can't get into, look, it's, what was they say? That's white people, white problems.
That's a white man with white problems. You deal with it.
We're something like this. Boom. Ooh, like an intellectual. I know.
I'm obsessed with the smell.
It
is something about
you guys. But woodwick candles are the best candles in the world.
They crackle like a fireplace.
Yes.
And this particular one's called pumpkin butter.
It's the best.
And it is. I'm obsessed.
First of all, I love candles.
First of all, I love fall. Yeah. And this is like fall in a jar.
It's so good. And the other one that we like is not mistletoe.
No, it's Fraser fir.
Fraser fir.
I'm outdoorsy. I'm an outdoorsy girl.
I love, but you guys get some.
I absolutely obsessed. I'm a Taurus. Taurus, like we're led by our senses. Okay. So I like to look at things, smell things. I wish I could go to sleep. I wish I could go to sleep, and this is just like right here. Can you have good dreams with good smells?
I think so. I think your senses, or anything that stimulates your senses, helps you with sleep.
Yeah, I like.
Okay, so hi everybody. Welcome back to the second half of this video. So this topic, you guys, is from a subscriber. This is interesting because so Kara actually didn't want to do this topic, and then I did, but I wanted to do it for the reasons why she didn't want to do it. Does that make sense?
Can't wait to see.
No.
What it is.
I'll read what he wrote because it's a lot of questions within his comment thing. He said, I have two questions. One, how do black females benefit from white male supremacy? And two, what role do you think white male supremacist culture plays in the mentality of black females? Is that, do you understand that?
I mean,
okay, but I'm so excited. I already know you're already getting.
I remember.
Yeah, that you're already getting to that. He has some, like, he said alternate questions. And he said, is there a cultural difference between black female womanhood and white female womanhood? Okay, okay. So that part, the difference is that I'm black and they're white. You know, we're black and they're white. I mean, every race has different culture.
Culture is culture. To me, our culture is what messes us up anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The things we do sometimes, it
yeah.
It messes up. We just did a video on a girl. This culture.
Culture.
What she's doing is her culture. That is what she knows. That's black culture. That's, you know what I mean? Like, this is what's going on.
So the reason why initially you didn't want to do this question is because I think in some ways we've already said this before, you know, but I think what was bothering you is that there are so many black people that think so much about the white supremacist thing, or the comparison of white and black, and what do the white people think of us, and how do we interact with them, and how does that work, you know? And so I feel like when I look at this, I'm thinking, well, in order to like answer this is kind of hard for me because I don't think like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think on the level of white male supremacy. Let's just go there.
I mean, I'm more of the content of your character.
Yeah,
so the thing is, like, I think of Martin Luther King the way what Martin Luther King said, that not the color of my skin. White people are not that much different than us.
They're not.
Now, Asian people are not that much different. Our cultures may be different because we're raised in certain segments of the world. Some of us aren't even, you know, born here. There are a lot of first generations people who came over here, and they have their culture. They come over here, or just in general. You know what I mean? Like, all black people aren't the same. That's one. You know what I mean? All black people aren't like that black girl that we saw in our last video.
Yeah,
but that's the mentality of how people think sometimes. Even black people think that all black people are alike, and then we're not. You know what I mean? This is why black conservatives get treated like this, is because for some reason black people can't see themselves as individuals. We see ourselves as some monolith, like we're all the same. We all want the same thing. Well, no. Sometimes you have more in common with some white people than you do with your own people. It's because your ideas are different.
I don't know if you feel
I don't feel like
way.
white people are better than me, and I don't think I don't think I'm better than them. I think that we all are Americans. We live in this country, and basically what we want is to live well, and to have, our laws that give us, rights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all want our kids to go to good schools. We all want to, be able to eat. We all want to be able to buy gas that's not $7 a gallon. We all want to, you know what I mean?
I don't walk around life thinking about white supremacy.
Right.
So I think that's why it's not. I don't say it's difficult for me to answer this question. It's not difficult at all, actually. It's just that I think differently than the way you're thinking. So what? Okay. So for instance, I don't believe that America is racist.
No.
Now, a lot of, especially liberal blacks, feel that America's racist. Now, I do believe there are racists in America. There's racists all over the world, but we could go that route. But I don't feel that, like he said, what did he say? How do black females benefit from white male supremacy? So that's not even a question to me, because I don't even think in the terms of white supremacy, because I don't think white people are superior to me.
Right.
So I feel like when people ask questions, when they start talking about white supremacy or blacks and whites in this way, I feel that they think that whites are superior. Now, I don't know if that's right for you, Jay, if that makes sense for you, but I don't believe that white people are above me. I know that white people are largely part of this country. They are the majority of this country. So I know that. But when we break it down to supremacy, I don't think like that. So when I think about questions like this, it just makes me think, well, it's not that I don't want to talk about the white supremacy part. It's that it's fine. It is what it is. There's white supremacists out there. There are out there, but I'm about to say that you're right.
There are black people are just as racist as white people. You know what I mean? And another thing is
black
that
people can't be racist,
if you talk to that's bull.
I know,
but it's just, when I talk to the average black man doesn't sound, and I know a lot of the average black men, I know a lot of average white men, and they sound exactly the same.
Exact same.
Now, I'm not talking about these people who are really, really rich or really, really poor. I'm talking about just the average middle ground black men and white men. They're literally identical in things that they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just don't see any big difference. I think that we need to stop trying to always separate ourselves from this country. And that our ancestors worked hard. I mean, slavery is a real thing. It was a real thing, and those people built this country. You know what I mean? And so we have a stake in this. This is our country too. And I feel like so many times black people feel like they're just not a part of this country, or they want, it's like give me equal rights, but then I want to stand out. It's like having black history. When is white history? Morgan Freeman said that. I was watching that. That actually came up the other day when Morgan Freeman said, he said, I don't want a Black History Month. And then he asked the reporter, well, okay, well then when is White History Month? He said, well, I'm actually Jewish. Well, when is Jewish History Month? He said, right. He said, he said, do you need one? He said, no, well, I don't need one either. Yeah. And that's how I feel. I don't need a Black History Month, because Black history is American history.
Right. And I feel like, and we've talked about this before, which is another reason why you were like, well, I didn't know to do this topic, because when we talked about this question, we're always appreciative of questions, but there are times where we're like, well, we have kind of already talked about this in a way, but not necessarily this, but there is this kind of feeling of, when are black people going to stop this separation thing? When are they going to stop this separation thing? So we had said before in a video, it's like I think it was the, calling yourself African American or calling yourself black, right? Which one is either you want to be called, or what does it make sense to call yourself African American? Really, So I feel like in that video I was saying that black people always are trying to make themselves included in America as if they're not already included in it, right? But then they do things to exclude themselves from America by calling themselves African American. That's one, okay? Now that's a minor one, but it's whatever, okay? And then, we do things where we do, the Black Lives Matter. We separate ourselves so much from the rest of America that it seems like, I feel like if I was a black person that would separate myself like that all the time, I would always think about white supremacy. Right. I know why black people talk like this. Because I feel like if you're always thinking along the lines of, what was the second part he said? This is an example. Okay, what role do you think white male supremacist culture plays in the mentality of black females. White male supremacist culture. I don't think like that. So I'm saying, like, I don't think like that. And it's not that I'm saying there's not white male supremacists or that's a thing. It's just that because I don't think like that, I don't see it. So that doesn't come up in my life.
That guess who's coming to dinner with Sidney Poitier, and he says to his dad, "You think of yourself as a black man? I just think of myself as a man." Is that is true?
Yes, true.
You know, I know that I am a black woman, and
I love
I'm proud.
it.
I don't have a problem with it. But my thing is that I'm an American. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, gas prices hurt all of us, not just the white, not just the black people, but the white supremacists too. You understand?
It does.
This country, we have to work together. And the instant we don't work together, it doesn't make sense. You can't keep calling yourself. You can't keep leaning on your race. And I'm sorry to say this, but it comes off victim-y.
It does.
And I can't stand that.
But even
because black people are not victims, and I hate that. This whole idea that everything in this country is against us.
Race.
And I'm just so tired of hearing it all the time. I am not a victim because I'm black. I'm not a victim because I am woman. I am not. I'm privileged because I'm an American.
Yeah.
You go to another country. We were just watching the 9/11 documentary, and you go to these other countries, and you see how these people are being treated, and that's why they're coming over in droves to this country. Because if you're gay, you can walk around here and call out your president and say all kinds of things. Walk around with a strap on Gay Pride Day. Do all these like little disgusting things that you want to do on your Pride Day, and no one's going to throw you off a building, kill you, jail you. They do this in other countries. Okay, the same as black people. You know what I mean? You can walk around this country and own property and be a millionaire, billionaire, be poor, be on welfare. You can own a business, not own a business, work at a, you can live in a neighborhood that's mostly white people. You're not going to get kicked out. You know what I mean? You understand? You have freedom here. No country is perfect.
Right.
There is no such thing of like a utopia of a country. No country is perfect. But our country is pretty close because in comparison to all the other countries.
The proof of that is that they come here.
Right. You know what I mean? It's just with this whole thing, it's like, when are we going to realize that we live in this country and we have a stake in it?
Is there a white supremacist culture? I mean, like white male supremacist culture. That's an interesting thing to say. Like, you know what I mean? That's an interesting phrase that. I wouldn't.
No, but okay. So you want to say the white people, colonizers, and all that? You know, I mean, this is their culture, and we all live in it. We were slaves. We were here, so then we adopted all of their stuff. We adopted their religion. Okay, but we stayed, so we like it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even you, if you live in America. So the thing is, if you don't like it, and it's just not what you're into, I don't understand why we don't have like planes just soaring to Africa of black people who hate America.
And I'm saying, what role do you think white male supremacist culture plays in the mentality of black females? Well, I'm a black female, so I don't play any part in it.
Right. I got natural hair.
To answer your question,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. You know what I mean? It's like I'm walking around with my natural hair, and I'm not trying to get the European look. You know what I mean? It's just like I get sick of that. I hate to be rude. I'm glad that you wrote I am happy that you wrote the question, but what I do get really tired of the whole.
I think we have to stop doing.
And I do think that the Democratic Party kowtows to black people's emotions. You know, that was what that whole taking a knee. All those people from the Senate and came down with their dashikis, and then Nancy Pelosi couldn't get up. That was funny. But my point in saying that is that they do this to keep you in your feelings because they know, like Kanye West said, that black people are proud people who get emotionally invested in our past in this country. And they serve it up, and they make sure that we never forget slavery, we never forget Jim Crow, but they also don't want to talk about that the Democrats were Jim Crow and that they were the slave owners. Right. So we skip that part. But they hold on to Lincoln, and Lincoln was a Republican. Right. So you know what I mean. My thing is saying this is just like you're in America, your accountability to yourself, like we did on that last video with that girl, your personal accountability is your freedom. Yeah. And until you can take personal accountability for your own life, your own existence, and how you show up in it, you need not worry about white people.
I want to say I understand the basis of what you're talking about here, but I think that it's a larger. I don't want to evade your question. Just to answer it directly, I don't. white supremacist culture doesn't play any part in my mentality.
Not in my mentality
whatsoever.
Right.
And there may be some black women that it does play a part. I don't know how that is, but whatever. It may in them. But I think that when you let kind of like this one kind of talking point control the way that you're thinking all the time, and so that was the problem with CRT, is that what we're doing is we're trying to make white people the bad people, and then only focus on racism,
right?
Race interactions. Every day, I think one of the points of CRT was that every interaction you have is racist. That's kind of like the one of the bullet points of it, and it's like, no, it's not. That's not a thing.
Look, I don't. The only thing that gives me trouble is my hair. Trying to do this video with my hair not looking weird. That is the word. You know what I mean?
But
other than that,
side note, if y'all had seen the freaking no joke 25 minutes to even get the videos started, because Kara's trying to explain to me how her hair doesn't look right.
It doesn't look right on camera. It looks good in life.
It looks good in life, not on camera.
But not on camera.
Okay,
but no
we digress.
I don't know. But I move on. My point in saying this, though, is that's not a white man's fault. What you're saying when you say stuff like this, or when you sound like this, in my opinion, you're making black people think that no matter how smart you are, no matter how hard you work, you'll never win.
Yeah,
and then you know what that does? That makes black people not even try. If they think that.
Yeah.
If they think that, if the young black people watch any black person saying stuff like that, like they do, like Whoopi Goldberg and all of these Van Jones, when they say stuff like that, it makes, and these are successful blacks. This is what never makes sense to me. But the thing is like when you say stuff all the time like this, where it's always about race, it's always about race, it's always about, you know what I mean? What happens is that it makes black people, especially particular black kids in the inner city, makes them think that they shouldn't even try. And then they don't. That's why our last video, that girl is over here throwing McDonald's at a man taking care of our kids because she's not even trying. Black
culture is a bigger problem than anything right now. Right now, our culture of black, that's the bigger problem. It's not.
I love being black, but I'm not going to condone the way a lot of black people act just because I am black. That's just not going to,
The biggest problem with black people right now is not white people. The biggest problem with black people right now is black people. So, white supremacy is not in my world, because I'm not concerned about that. What's more concerning to me is black people being ignorant and not having any morals. And I say ignorant not in a derogatory term. I'm saying that literally. There's a lot of ignorance going on, and we need to uplift our community and stop thinking so much about the alleged white what's called the culture, the white supremacist culture. I can't get into, look, what it was they say, that's white people, white problems. I think that was that's white people with white problems. But yeah, I can't get into that part of it because, it's not my business. Okay, it's not my business. What is my business, though? I think it's black people.
Yeah, it's like Tom Sowell said, and there was with Milton Friedman. He did like a town hall type thing with people from the welfare system. This is in 1978, I think, and he was saying to the welfare lady, and then she was a white lady, and there was a black man, and if I could find it, I'll show you so you can video it. But he was saying, it's a really good segment. We should really watch it together so we can do this. But what he was saying is that the welfare lady was trying to say that all these women these black women that have kids, and they can't do it without the system and all that. And he was just like, listen, I came from a time, because he was a child in the 40s. I came from a time when we had a lot more against us, a lot more racism, a lot more poverty, and yet there was a lot less single mothers. There was a lot less, divided homes.
Go figure.
So how can you give black people in 1865 the rights we have today, and what those slaves would have done with the work that we have today? See, that's how I look at things. I look at things as the people who came before me. If they had if they got all the rights I have today, what they would do. What they did, but they didn't. They were still thriving. With all even in black colleges, they were still thriving. They had a lot more up against them, but for some reason, they seem to have worked really hard at a time where the world their country was actually against them, but they got more done.
Right.
We have less against us, but we're getting
nothing done. And our ancestors, all they had to do, and this is why I don't like this. This is the main reason why I don't like to focus so much on white supremacy. is because
back.
our ancestors, that's all they had to deal with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They had to deal with white supremacy. They had zero choice. It was in their face every day. They're picking cotton. They're getting whipped. They're getting raped. They're getting beat. They're getting families ripped apart from each other. I mean, all they had to deal with every single day is white supremacy, and somehow they still went to church. You know, still try to find something in there that's positive. And so it would be such a slap in the face to every last one of the slaves and to all of our ancestors for me to sit here and try to figure out why we're different when I'm in a country
that I want to be in.
That
I'm choosing to stay in.
I refuse to sit here and talk about white supremacy all day. I'm going to be talking more about what we can do as black people to be better. Because if we keep talking about white supremacy and what the benefits of this and that and the other, we are never going to get anything done. And that's what they want. They want us to not get anything done. They want us to focus on these two things, black and white. Black and white. Everything's black and white. And all I'm saying is that I want to focus on what's more important. That's uplifting your own. So if I'm sitting here all day thinking about and talking about and comparing white people to me, then I'm not going to get anything done. And guess what? Either are you.
Clarence Thomas was raised in the South. He didn't have money growing up, and now he's a Supreme Court justice. You know what I mean? He was saying himself that he said one of the reasons when he went to Yale, he said that it was hard for me to go to Yale mostly because I not only was poor, but I also had a Southern dialect, and I was embarrassed to talk. A man who's a Supreme Court justice, who became a lawyer, is embarrassed to talk, but he did it.
Yeah.
Because just like Condoleezza Rice, she said, my parents even said that racism is a big deal. It's a thing that's happening right now in her time.
Yeah.
It was happening, but that's not your issue, and that's not your problem, and that's how I see it.
And that's how I see it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's your racism has nothing to do with me. What you think about me, man, by the way, even when black people say stuff to me, what your idea of me is none of my business.
Right.
Because you don't get to dictate who I am and what I am. You know what I mean?
If
I get to dictate that. That's something, that's my right. I get to do that. You can say all you want about me, it has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? And that's how you have to walk through life. You can't be walking through life trying to wonder what everybody else is doing because it holds you back. It keeps you back. It keeps you a victim. It keeps you not wanting to try. It keeps you in a fight, but with no results.
Yeah. You know, and white people, forget about supremacist part, this white people in general do not make or break me.
Right.
You know?
They're not better than me.
We're not in their country.
Right. This is our country.
That's the mentality of a lot of black people who talk like this, right? Is that somehow we're in their country. No, I'm in my country.
No, this is my country.
Right? It's my country, and we've yeah. It says so. You let us know what you think about what we said. Yeah, this question I feel like is bigger. It was bigger than the question.
Yeah.
To us, this is why This is why Kara initially didn't want to do the thing, or she was apprehensive about the whole thing because there's a bigger point behind the question that we wanted to make. So hopefully we made it. All right, you guys. Let us know what you think about this video. Please leave a comment below. Do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. I don't know why you're waiting to do that. Just do it. All right. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching.